Hey guys, are you looking for a yoga workout that's specifically made for men? If so, check out this routine. My name is Dean Pullman. I'm the founder of Manful Yoga, author of Yoga Fitness for Men, and my job is making yoga more approachable for men. All right, guys, so as mentioned, this is a Yoga for Men workout. That doesn't mean that you can't do it if you're a woman. It just means that we're going to be speaking more to men, which means the anatomical differences between men and women. We're also going to be talking about modifications for men who are less flexible, and I'm going to be talking about the more common mistakes made by men due to, again, the differences between men and women. Women tend to have more center of gravity in their hips and their core area. Men tend to rely more on their shoulders and their upper body. So I'll be addressing that in this routine. We're going to need a bit of equipment for this. If you have a yoga mat, cool. If you don't worry about it. I'm going to be using a couple of blocks. These are really important for the modifications. If you don't have a block, get creative. You can stack up some books. You can use a couple of water bottles. Not having a block, not having a yoga mat should not preclude you from doing this workout. We're also going to be using a strap. If you don't have a strap, use a belt, use a dog leash. So basically, you don't need any of this specialized yoga equipment. You can get by with household items. And if you do want it, it's relatively inexpensive. You can get a mat, a block, a strap for not that much money. All right, so let's get into the routine. Now, most people think that yoga is flexibility and stretching. I'm going to start off with some strength work because I want to show you that yoga is not just stretching. We're also working on strength. We're working on balance, we're working on breathing, working on body control. So be aware of that and just do your best to take all that into account as you're practicing. So here we go. You're going to start off with on your back with some single leg reverse crunches. Now this isn't a yoga pose, but the thing about yoga is that it's not just yoga postures. We're also using body weight exercises. We're using some influence from Pilates. And we're also using some physical therapy exercises. So it's a combination of a lot of routines. So you're going to start off with your shoulders lifted lightly off the ground using your core strength, bringing one leg in, bringing the other leg straight out, just kind of switching back and forth there. If you want to make this more or easier on your neck, you can bring your head all the way down and just start off with these single leg reverse crunches. One leg squeezing in, the other leg going out. And start integrating your breath here. You're going to exhale to squeeze the knee in. Inhale to switch, exhale to squeeze the other leg in. So as we're doing this, you're going to feel your core and your hip flexors working. You shouldn't feel any strain in your lower back. If you do, bring your leg a little bit higher. Don't bring it quite so close to the ground. And again, you can keep your head and your neck relaxed on the ground, or you can lift your shoulders using your core strength to get a little bit more core activity. And this is just a nice, easy way to warm up, making sure that your back feels good throughout the routine. All right, go ahead and stop that. Plant your feet on the ground. Pull your shoulders forward using your heels. Press down through your feet. Squeeze your butt, and then lift your hips off the ground into a bridge. Now here I want you to focus on hip strength. Okay, we're not just puffing the chest out and arching the back. I want you to instead use your hips to lift. So you want to squeeze your butt cheeks together. Push down through your feet, squeeze your thighs, pretend like you're holding something between your inner thighs. And again, using your glutes, using your hamstrings, pushing down through your feet here to support yourself. Okay, the biggest error that I see here is people try and make this a contest. They try to get as high as they can, they arch their back, they pinch their lower back, and they're missing out on engaging their glutes, which is really the best benefit of this exercise, is that we're working on your glutes. So focus on your butt, focus on your thighs, keep your lower back relaxed. It helps to also think aiming your pubic bone at your face. So you want to have a slight posterior tilt here. That's going to help to maximize your glute engagement. So again, posterior tilt means kind of rounding your back, better glute engagement. As you're doing this, slowing down your breathing, breathing in and out of your nose. Now it's a lot to handle. You got to focus on the technique, focus on the breath. It's not going to happen all at once automatically. Just keep practicing. It will get better with time. And then go ahead and release your hips down. Nicely done. Bring your knees in toward your chest. Just kind of give yourself a hug. Try to keep your lower back flat on the ground here and pull your knees out as you pull them in toward the shoulders. You can lightly rock from side to side here. Try to keep your abs tight and still breathing in and out of your nose. And it might feel weird breathing this slow and controlled, but as you practice it, it will become more regular. You just have to practice it. It'll get better with time. From here, we're going to go into a one-leg happy baby. So I want you to kind of plant your left foot, grab the inside of your right foot, and then aim your right foot up at the ceiling. Your right elbow is going to be inside your right knee. Drive your right knee out. You're going to feel a stretch through your right groin here, through your inner thigh. Try to keep your back flat on the ground here. If you need a little bit more balance, bring your left arm to the outside. That'll help you kind of stay in place. If you want to go a little bit deeper into the stretch, bring your left leg all the way out. So straighten your left leg, flat on the ground. And still breathing in and out of the nose here. We're doing this variation of happy baby. We're not going full happy baby because this is going to help you keep your back flat. A lot of guys tend to do too much rounding already. They have bad posture. So this is going to help you keep your back flat, but still get a stretch to the inner thigh. All right, and then let's switch sides. Go ahead and plant your left foot. Plant your right foot now. Grab the outside of your left foot. Left elbow comes inside the left knee. Right arm comes to the outside. Press your knee up and out until you feel a stretch in the left inner thigh. Keep your head, shoulders, neck relaxed on the ground. And holding this. Now your body is going to be, this is called a static, right? This is static because we're not moving, but you want to use your breath to move slightly deeper into the exercise with each exhale. So your exhale is your body's sign to your parasympathetic nervous system to relax. That is your body's signal to your muscles to relax and to lengthen. So as you exhale, right, going a little bit deeper into each stretch. And again, that variation here, if you want to bring the right leg straight out to make this stretch a little more intense, go for it. So stretching your inner left thigh here, this is relieving tension from the knee. It's also relieving tension on the lower back. Most of what we do in yoga will have an overall impact on the back, your spine in some way. It's also going to help with your knees and your ankles and with getting rid of little aches and pains in your joints. You just have to be consistent. That's the most important part. All right, and then go ahead and release your left leg. Bring your knees over your hips, so knees directly above the hips, kind of in an L shape with the legs. And then bring your legs over to the right, keeping your shoulders on the ground. Now you might notice that your left shoulder comes off the ground here if you're not super mobile through your spine, and that's normal. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Just do your best to get that left shoulder to the ground. If it doesn't touch today, don't worry about it. Bring your right hand to your left knee. Pull your ribs down. So one area here I see is people kind of puffing their chest out. I want you to pull your rib cage toward the ground and keep your head looking straight up, or you can look over to the left. And you might feel a couple of cracks in your lower back as you're doing this. That's fine. That just means that your lower back is opening up. There's space being created in your vertebra, in your lumbar spine. And notice that I'm breathing really slow and controlled as I'm holding this. You can feel the stretch through the outer hip, through the lower back. And if your chest is tight, you also might be feeling this through your left pectoral muscles. All right, and then bring it back to the middle. Knees back over your hips. Just kind of take a breath there to get reset. And then bring your legs over to the left. Now you're going to bring your left hand on top of your right knee. Do your best to squeeze your right shoulder to the ground. And again, avoid puffing your chest out here. I want you to pull your rib cage down toward the ground. And deep breaths in and out of your nose. If you want to look over to the right with your head, that's going to add a little bit of a twist through your cervical spine, through your neck. That's really nice because we tend to do a lot of looking straight forward during the day when we're on our phones, when we're on the computer, we're looking straight forward. We're not really doing any twist. So part of what we do in yoga is trying to counter what we do during the day, right? So we want to do positions that are the opposite of what we do while we're sitting or while we're inactive. So you're going to find a lot of counter movements in yoga, or at least in a good yoga routine. All right, and then bring it back to the middle. And from here, we're going to sit up and take it into a tabletop position. So tabletop, your hands are going to be under your shoulders, planted under your shoulders. Knees are going to be under your hips. And the first exercise here is a cat-cow. So this is a very basic but very essential exercise for spinal mobility. You're moving from an arched position as you inhale to a rounded position as you exhale. I recommend pushing down through your hands here, lightly squeezing your thighs toward one another, and that's going to add a little bit more shoulder, a little bit more hip engagement, which is going to make this stretch more effective. So anytime we can add muscle engagement to stretching or to mobility work, you're going to get more out of it. You're going to get deeper into the exercises. And it might be weird at first combining the movement with the corresponding breath. It just takes practice. So again, inhaling to arch, making sure that you're lengthening your neck. So I want you to think lengthening from your mid-back all the way up to the top of your head. And then exhaling to round, pulling your belly button toward your lower back, squeezing your thighs toward one another, pushing down through your hands, tucking the chin. Do about 3 more of these on your own pace. If you want to move a little bit faster than this, that's fine. If you notice that you're running out of breath, that's okay. But just a quick word of advice. The more that you practice this, the easier it is to breathe longer, to make your breath longer and to hold it for a longer time. So it might seem difficult at first, might seem uncomfortable, but if you push yourself through it, you'll get used to it and it will become easier. Last cat-cow. Shoulders down and back, neck long, top of the head up. Exhale and round. Chin in, belly button toward your lower back. Thighs hug toward one another. Abs tight. All right, nicely done. From here, we're going to move into a bird dog. This is a stabilizing exercise for your core. Very similar to a plank, except instead of having both feet up, you're going to have one knee down and one leg back. So start by lifting your left arm straight out, and then without moving your hips, so very slowly, very carefully, bring your right leg straight back, press the heel back, reach your toes toward you, hug your right hand and your left knee toward one another. You're going to look straight down at the ground. So avoid arching your back and looking forward here. A big problem I see here is people tend to arch their back and they tend to let their belly button sink. I want you to try and think about a plank here and keep your body straight. Hugging that right hand toward your left knee, driving your left heel or your right heel back, and reaching that left hand forward and up. Chin is relaxed in toward the throat. One more breath here. And then release that hand, release the knee down, and you're going to switch sides. So straight into it, reach your right arm forward and up, palm can face to the outside, or to the inside rather, and then without moving your hips, bring your left leg straight back, reach your toes toward you, press your heel away from you. Now a big problem I see here is people tend to turn this hip out and they turn the hips to the outside. Make sure that the left toes stay facing straight down and your hips are squared forward. Hug your left hand and your right knee toward one another. And again, belly button is lifted, so it should feel like you're doing a plank here. We're working on core stability. This is a really good exercise for your lower back. It addresses the root causes of lower back, but only if you're doing it properly. So make sure that your spine is straight, not arching the back. Lots of core engagement here. Still breathing in and out of your nose. And one other aspect of yoga is always keeping your neck free. All right, so we want to avoid crowding the ears with the shoulders. Lengthen the neck, pull the shoulders down and away from the ears. One more breath. and then release that hand down, release the knee down. From here, moving into a child's pose. This is a very common yoga pose, but it's a really good one for your lower back. Now, don't go straight into it. I'm going to walk you into it. So bring your knees wide, big toes touch, and I want you to keep your chest up right here. So the biggest area that I see, people just kind of round and fall down into this, and they round their back. I want you to keep your back as straight as you can. So start off with your chest lifted, your back flat, just like you had it for that plank or that bird dog. And then slowly walk your hands forward, bring your chest toward the ground, keeping length through the front of your torso, keeping your back flat. Press down through your hands. Push your butt toward your heels. It doesn't matter if your butt touches your heels or not. The important thing here is that you're keeping your back flat and feeling stretching through your chest and your shoulders. So pushing down into the ground, pressing your lower back toward your belly button so that your core is engaged. Feeling stretching through your hips, through your groin, and breathing slow and controlled in and out of the nose. So we're going to feel some release of tension here again through your shoulders, through your hips, through your lower back. This is a really good restorative pose. And by restorative, I mean it's a recovery exercise. So it's helping to release stress or release tension. You can make it a little more active by straightening your arms and hugging your arms toward one another. So without moving your hands at all, just pretend like you're holding something between your arms. And that will add a little bit more of a shoulder strengthening element to this. And that's going to help with shoulder mobility, and that's going to help with posture, getting rid of or preventing injury in your shoulders as well. All right, from here we're going to move into a needle thread. So without really moving your left hand that much, I want you to slide your right hand through your left hand and your left knee. Try to relax onto the back of your right shoulder and then look over toward the left. This is called needle thread. Press the back of your right arm into the ground and then lightly pull your right shoulder back toward the right, just until you feel a stretch through the inside of your right shoulder blade. So kind of keeping your butt back like we did for child's pose, keeping your left hand planted. So we've got a little bit more of a strength element for the left shoulder here. And then this is a really nice stretch for the inside of the shoulder blade. So if you have neck pain, if you have shoulder tension, this is a really nice one for that. Try to keep your shoulder down away from the ear. We don't want to create additional stress in the shoulder. As you exhale, you can work deeper into this. One more breath here. All right, and then go ahead and plant your right hand back where you had it for child's pose. Slide your left hand through your right hand and your right knee. Relax onto the outside of the left shoulder. Keep your butt down and back. Lightly pull your left shoulder back toward the left until you feel that stretch in the inside of the shoulder blade. Make sure that shoulder is pulled down and away from the ears. And the left side of your head should be relaxing on the ground here. And breathing deeply. So especially in these kind of twisted positions, it's difficult, or it's more difficult to breathe. If you can continue to breathe deeply here, it's going to tremendously help your mobility. So continue to breathe deeply here, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable. Again, discomfort's okay. It's just we want to avoid pain. So working into discomfort is how we start to get stronger, as long as it doesn't hurt. And the breath is important for helping to tell your body, hey, it's okay, we're just stretching, you're not hurting yourself. All right, and then coming back to the middle. Nicely done. We're going to move into a lunge from here. So I'm going to have you grab your 2 blocks, place them on either side toward the front of the mat. Step your right foot up between your hands into a low lunge. So we want to be really active in this low lunge. So a lot of people will do a passive lunge. They kind of put the hands on their knees here, look around, watch the geese fly by, whatever they're doing. So here I want you to do, we're not going to do that. We want to be really active. So we want to work on strength. We also want to work on flexibility here. So push down through your right foot. It actually helps if you hover the left knee at first. Then you kind of understand how much your right leg should be working. And then set that left knee down. Don't dump all of the weight into your left knee. So we're kind of putting more of the weight in the hip, resting a little bit into that left knee, but not putting your full body weight and dumping it there. Squeeze both glutes. So I want you to squeeze your right glute, squeeze the back of your left hip, so your left glute, and you'll feel a stretch through the front of your left hip flexor. A lot of people, when they have back pain, they want to do a forward fold, which means kind of reaching down and touching your toes. And actually, this is often more helpful than that forward fold because we're opening those muscles that get really tight and then pull on the lower back. So a lot of what we're doing with yoga is strengthening or stretching the muscles that connect to the spine rather than just stretching the muscles of the spine, which isn't going to help. So in this low lunge, chest is pulling up, pushing down through my right foot, lightly squeezing my legs toward one another. So you can squeeze your right leg back while squeezing your left leg forward. And again, both glutes are engaged here. It helps to use the blocks at first just to kind of understand that you want to keep yourself lifted here. We don't have to work on the balance as much. And if you need a little bit of support to take the weight out of the knee, you've got those blocks there. Notice that as you exhale, you can relax deeper into this stretch. I say stretch, but it's also a posture, it's also strengthening. So we're doing more than just stretching here. We're going to move into a half split. So I want you to move the blocks back about a foot. Okay, blocks come back about a foot. Move your left knee back about 6 inches. Straighten your right leg until you feel a stretch to the back of the right thigh. And then reach your toes toward your shin. Lightly press the back of your right leg toward the ground. Pull your chest forward and up. Now, my goal here, this is the half split. My goal here is to keep my back flat while stretching the back of my right leg. So avoid rounding your back. I want you to think bringing your chest toward your toes. Rather than bringing your head to your knee, again, lengthening your chest toward your toes. It's probably not going to happen. You're probably not going to touch your sternum to your toes. But if you can think about that, that's going to help with the proper technique here. Again, we don't want to round our back. Most of us already do, especially guys. We do enough hunching over. We're working at offices, you're commuting, you have bad posture when you're looking at your phone. So we do enough rounding of the back. I want you to keep your spine straight here. And this is specifically targeting the back of your right thigh. So we're working on the hamstrings. That's relieving pressure on the low back. And the more that you can reach your toes back, the more of a stretch you're going to get through your right calf or your gastrocnemius as well. One more breath here. All right, and then release. And switch sides, going to a low lunge with your left leg forward. So as you can see, using the blocks is really helpful because it allows us to, instead of rounding forward, we're able to get better posture and stay tall. So using the blocks, low lunge, left leg forward. Push down through your left foot. Put that weight into your left hip. Again, it might help to hover that right knee for just a few seconds. Just kind of shifting that weight, getting your left glute working here, getting the thigh working, and then slowly setting it back down. Squeeze your right glute. That's going to pull open your right hip flexors. When one muscle engages, the antagonist muscle stretches. So when one muscle shortens, its opposite lengthens. So we're using that concept here. We're engaging or we're shortening the glute to help lengthen the hip flexor. So in that way, flexibility is strength work too, because in order to flex one side, right, or in order to extend one side, we are shortening or strengthening its opposite muscle or its opposing muscle group. So chest is lifting up, resting my hands on the blocks, legs squeezing toward one another, so that left foot squeezes back, my right leg squeezes forward, and keeping the glutes engaged here. So really squeezing through both glutes, not just through my left one, but also through my right. ribs lifted. So one other common error that I see is people tend to get lazy in a low lunge and they collapse to their chest. I want you to think pulling your ribs up away from your hips. That's going to help you build core strength when you're in this. One more breath. All right, and then moving to the half split. So you're gonna move the blocks back about 1 foot. You're gonna move your right knee back about 6 inches, and then shift your hips back, coming into a half split. So here I want you to start with your leg bent. So you wanna make sure that you're not just going to the straight leg and then rounding your back. You wanna bend your knee. Hey, Tron, come over here, buddy. You wanna make sure that you're bending your knee so that you're not rounding your back. So bend the knee, pull your chest forward and up, and then as your flexibility allows, then you can straighten your leg until you feel a stretch. But always start with the straight spine and bent legs, and then straighten your legs from there. Again, if you want to get more stretching through your calf, you can reach your toes further back toward the shin. And most of us do have a lack of calf mobility because of the shoes that we wear, because we're not stretching our ankles enough. Our legs are always bent because we're sitting down. So you probably have tight calves. Push yourself a little bit, reach your toes back toward your shin. To get the strength aspect of this, I want you to think hugging the front of your thigh toward your abs. So if you can think of that strengthening, that's going to actually help more with the stretching aspect in your hamstrings. Again, it doesn't matter what pose we're in. When one side of the body engages or flexes, the opposing muscle group or the opposing side of the body stretches. Couple breaths here. Keeping your chest going forward and up. All right, and then go ahead and release. Okay, guys. I'm going to end that there. So that was our first workout from the Yoga for Men series. Our focus on this is to not only give you a workout, but also teach you about the differences between kind of the style of yoga that I teach, which is more focused on strength and more focused on modifications and addressing inflexibility and the differences between men and women. Because most yoga is made for women. It's made by women. It's made for women. So what I try to do is show modifications and basically show the type of yoga that I would have appreciated when I was starting out with yoga as an athlete in college. So hope you enjoyed that workout. Be sure to subscribe. We'll be putting out more of these workouts if they're not already live. They'll be going live in the next few weeks. Again, goal is to teach you yoga specifically for men. If you want to learn more about what I do, head to my website at manflowyoga.com. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to this channel. Hit the bell button to get notifications so you know exactly when a new video is released. And if you like this video, be sure to like it. And my comment for you, I would love for you to answer this question in the comments, is what is your experience with yoga? Do you think that this is helpful for men? Do you think that there is a difference between yoga for men and yoga for women? Let me know here in the comments section below. And thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.